Roni, thank you so much for stopping by and for being on the show. First, I wanted to start off by saying that when I first met you, I was not having a really good week. And I had a friend of mine that just kind of told me, you take a walk downtown. It's a really nice, kind of scenery, and people don't really, people here from Rockford, like, they don't even know about it. So I was like, okay, I took a walk, and I happened to stumble upon your place, which is called the
Underground.
The Underground. And I went in there, and I didn't know what to expect. And I've always liked art, but as I shared with you, I was like, I'm not good at art, so I never even tried it. And then we shared one of the best conversations that I had in a very long time. Which is why I wanted to bring you on and also to share about your art, because it's excellent. So
well, thank you.
You're welcome. So I kind of want to start from. I know you're from Israel. I'm really interested to know a little bit about how you came here and.
Yeah. Well, I was born in Israel, obviously, and I came here with my wife and 2 kids. My wife got a job offer. And I was an artist then. I was a sculptor then. Mm-hmm. And the market in Israel is really small. So I thought, you know what, if you want to make a living one way or another doing art, you have to move to a bigger market. And in America, it was a bigger market.
Yeah.
Also, it's pretty close to the way, culturally and with democracy, and it's kind of equal to the United States in a way. Mm-hmm. It's much smaller, but so we moved. She got a job offer. My wife is a physical therapist.
Oh, okay.
So she got an offer from a hospital here in town, and we moved, and we're here for 26 years now. So 1996 we came, mm-hmm. and then I was a sculptor. So
sculpture.
Yeah, I used to do metal and welding and cutting and doing the manly stuff, right? Bigger metal pieces, and I couldn't bring the tools with me, because different electricity and it's just expensive. Maybe I'll buy them here. But I convinced myself to teach myself painting. Okay. And so I started playing around. Being in Israel, you have to understand, being in Israel is kind of, I don't say everybody, but it's a certain something in the Israelis that are doubting all the time, doubting and questioning, and I would like to say curious, or at least they trust themselves. Mm-hmm. And I thought, you know what, let's open an art school. Yeah, the first thing I do when I come to America, I opened an art school. I had 60 students and 4 teachers working for me.
Wow.
And a year later, I thought, you know what, I don't get a chance to do art. I'm busy running a school. So I said, that's it. I closed it. And I opened the same building. I opened a small art gallery. And everything rolled from there. It's like the Underground is my 6th consecutive art gallery in Rockford. So I've been around for a while.
Yeah. Wow. So, when did you actually start painting, though? When you were young, or?
Well, when I came to the United States, actually. I did really insignificant stuff back in Israel, but I thought I'm not good. I thought, me? I had the same mistaken thought that if you compare yourself to others, and you can say, well, I'm good or not. So say people compare themselves to Picasso and other big names. Compared to them, what can I say they didn't say beautifully? What do I have to say?
Yeah.
So, so I'm not a good artist. I'm not a good painter. And but I said I'm going to play with it, and things started kind of interesting. The art school, I gave the teachers magic markers, and I told them just work with the students, and mostly kids, but some adults. Mm-hmm. And 1 or 2 of them gave it back to me. Said, "Listen, you can't do much with magic markers." And you can't? I like challenges. So I created 2 examples, and then for a whole year, I just went wild with creating art. It's actually in my gallery, magic markers.
Wow.
So then I thought, you know what? I do have something there. Mm-hmm. I started enjoying color and everything. And then the next stage was, I didn't know how to paint. It's more of a kind of a feeling that I had that, let's experiment.
Yeah.
So I was working with tempera and lacquers and fire. I was burning it wasn't a canvas, it was like masonite. I was burning the masonite, creating textures, and after a while, I started selling, and I did pretty well.
Wow.
So I'm looking back, I said, wow, this doesn't, well, it didn't look like things they look now, but it was, I made a living, and I was able to keep a gallery in Rockford. It's not easy to do that.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Because, it's not a big market. There's a lot of good artists here. How do you make a living?
Yeah.
Without compromising?
Yeah.
So I had to develop the business side of running a gallery. And I did some shows. I had some galleries around the country that were showing and selling my art. But since I get very fast, I get bored.
Got it.
I get really bored after. I cannot do things twice or three times.
Yeah.
Even a small variation, I get bored. So
Yeah.
I moved on to something else. That means jumping into the water without knowing how to swim again, and enjoying not knowing how to swim, and then figuring it out as you go.
Yeah.
So
when you say that you jump into something else, what do you mean by, like, what did you jump into?
into new methods, new ways of doing things, without looking back and without referring to what I did before.
Yeah.
Something totally new. New paint. See, I noticed that people identify with who they think they should be or they think they are.
Yeah.
And we don't know much who we are because,
That's so true.
we have very limited experience
Yeah.
and looking at ourselves. What we can do is experience and then learning through experience who are we.
Yeah.
So I just allow things to happen, and I developed this trust that I had in myself. And I think the real boost was 8 years ago when I started doing my collaborative painting that I explained, and where I go to events. And it covered for the not being able to sell art all the time. You have to look a step ahead of the market, a step ahead of everything. And so you have to find things that you're good at, and maybe others are not good enough or not kind of behind you a little bit on that. So you go into places where you never thought are possible. So the trust thing is really important, I noticed. And this is where, since I started doing my performances, when I go to events like weddings and corporate events, I engage guests to help me on my own canvas, right? There's like 150 people painting on my canvas.
That's
physically,
yeah.
from 2 years old. Actually, the last wedding I had last week, there's a baby handprint on the canvas. So I painted.
Right.
That's what the parents wanted. So usually people add, in their own really low level. They don't have any knowledge.
Yeah.
But they add memories, thoughts, wishes in an image form, and I create an original from that. And I've been doing it for 8 years, and I ended up being the only one in the country who does it. So I have no competition out there.
Wow.
Still, it's kind of weird, all right?
That nobody's started or to follow that trend at all.
No. It's it's just me. So I don't know how many people saw that, but I do advertise here and there, and I do like around 30 events a year. So I do quite a lot.
Yeah.
I go to New York for that. I go to Texas. I go all over the country. Wherever they pay me, I go. Because I love what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and it's speaking of what you're saying, so what inspires you, I guess? Is there anything in particular?
I have a very good answer for that. I tell people when they ask me, open your eyes, you're surrounded by it. Life. We are surrounded by inspiration constantly. If we don't see it, that means our eyes are not totally open.
Yeah, I like that.
Because, you look around, you see people. You see, you can smell the air. You can hear the birds. You can look at the sky. Just keep changing every 5 minutes. It's connected to, as much as possible, being present.
Yeah.
It means noticing and not even noticing, just immerse in whatever is going on right now. I learned to be better, and I'm not perfect at it, but I learned to be better with time. How to bring myself really fast. If I'm lost in thought for a second, bring myself right back into the now. Because as I like to say, the past and the future are both illusions that your brain very skillfully creates.
Yeah.
So there's no past and future. It's just memories or expectations. They don't exist. Otherwise, you would do something yesterday, right? You can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, in a way, you're stuck with the now. Now, you can lie to yourself and say, "I'm not in the now. I'm gonna feel nostalgia, or I have goals." And it feels. I think it feels. The moment feels rough to people. So they feel like stressed. So they want to comfort themselves by going back or future. So just not to be present, because it is. I mean, it
a little
can be
scary.
It's one way of thinking about it, but I think it's the most amazing thing you can do is be present. Now, I know it's words, and people say, "Wow, what are you talking about?" Because, when you're being in the now. It's so powerful and energetic. I don't do meditation, by the way. I do my paintings, and it's a very good substitute for that. But there's something in the now that is internal energy that you cannot get somewhere else, like food, or even someone tells me, you have such a nice, we love your work, it's such a beautiful work. I say thank you, and I move on. It goes from one year to the other because it's risky. You start falling in love with your own work, and then you get stuck in the past. And I think when you look at, I'd say maybe other words, being aware. In my mind, there's no 99% awareness. Either you're here or you're not. There's no half job done here. You cannot be two places at the same time. It means let's say you have 100% of awareness now, and as you look back, you borrow some of this time right now, and you're sending it to the past or to the future. So now you have a hole, because you borrowed. It's like a bank. You take the money out, right? Now you have deficits. So tomorrow you'll have to plug this hole. And it goes by always plugging holes, meaning you're not really here. You're not present. Again, I'm not smart. Just as a disclaimer, it's all my experience. I don't want to tell people that I know something they don't.
Yeah.
It's my personal experience. So just making sure that people know that.
No, we appreciate that. But I love your perspective on it, though.
And the more you do it, the more life becomes awesome to the highest degree. And again, I know it sounds a lot of words, but I really mean it. It gives you certain meaning that you never thought is possible before. Again, not because you're smarter, not because you're richer, not because we're all the same. We all nobodies in a way. We all nobodies. Now, if you think about it, because we come and go, nobodies. But the nobody gives you a lot of, let's say, responsibility too. Meaning you're responsible for everything happens in your life. Everything. So let's say now, again, there's always the edges. Some people had rough childhood and affects them in the future. I'm talking about the average Joe, right?
Got it.
That it doesn't happen much that someone chases you with a knife, right? So most of your life is kind of average, small ups and downs, and
right.
And so this is the average is the time you have to practice. So when something really harsh happens, you're prepared. It's like, oh my God, what happened? I don't know what happened. You're prepared. So you spend much less time in getting out of situation you shouldn't be in to begin with. See what I'm saying? So I'm all about saving time now, because I appreciate the moment so much that I think I have to make the best out of the time I do have. One of the ways I do that is I sign my age on my art. So it's like my art now is on 62. I'm 62. So I sign my age to remind me, life is short. Do it today, not tomorrow. Because we tend not to. We tend to project into the future, right? Or get lost in the past. One of these.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's the most powerful thing I can ever imagine. I feel thankful from being able to at least enhance what I had before to the point where I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't really care. Not necessarily say, I'm going to jump off a building. I care, but it doesn't distract me from
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I live the day as much as possible like it's the last day of my life. Now, that's appreciation. I'm not a religious guy, but I feel in a way thankful to the ability that I have now to find the now, and without trying to prove anything, and this connects me to how art brought me here to this place. Now, there's many ways of learning this experience. But art is a good, safe way, because, I tell people you can climb the Himalayas, and if you're lucky to come back alive, you learn something.
Yeah.
Or you got hit on the head, an accident, and you wake up and say, oh my God, now I understand life differently. I said, wait, it's a possibility. I prefer the better way, the more fun way, to push yourself to, without going through an accident or a major event in life, to learn it. It's much more fun.
Yeah.
And you benefit more from that. So it kind of brought me to live as much as possible, and be smiling all the time and feeling on the top of the game. Again, not comparing to anybody. I'm not better than anybody. I'm not worse. We're all exactly the same. So I use the art as a tool to learn who I am. Meaning, the finished painting, I'm not interested in. I'm interested in what happened to me from point A to point Z while working it. Meaning, challenging myself to go to a place that I never thought possible, right? Or as I tell people, do only the things that you think you can't, because if you can do something, why the hell you want to waste your time on that? Because people do that. They feel the comfort zone.
Yeah.
So don't be comfortable in life. Life is not about feeling comfortable. Comfortable is on the beach when you drink, a glass of wine. That's comfortable. But life shouldn't be comfortable. It should be exciting and a little bit uncomfortable, because it challenges your brain and your mind to see things that you never thought are possible, or places you never thought, you could never imagine.
Yeah.
So I use it as a tool to learn. And since I started doing my collaborative painting and engaging so many people on my canvas, it enhanced this feeling. First of all, in many angles. First of all, some people tell me, I think I'm going to start painting now. I actually build a studio right there in the middle of a wedding, for instance, right? The studio, right there in the middle of a wedding, right?
Yeah.
Lights and canvas and everything. And people, they approach me or I approach them. They're usually very scared, and because they're stumped. They don't. Oh no, they didn't paint since they were 10 years old, right? And I have like 80 years old people painting on my canvas. They never thought they're going to do it, and here they are doing it. And some people tell me, I think I'm going to stop painting again.
Yeah.
Boom. It's already a one win, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, in a funny way, they create the painting with my help, and I get paid. It's another win, right?
True.
I mean, they paint the painting, and I get paid. And thirdly, as I look at, as again referring to the now, I look at all of them as friends. Like every night I have 100 to 150 new friends. That's how I feel. I don't keep necessarily friendship from the past. I friend people at the event like they're the best friend, and it feels like I'm making a change in their life, even if it's a small piece.
Right.
By introducing them to that and by talking to them. So now I feel responsibility not only to myself, but to other people as well, and to the environment, and to everything else. And I think if we can make an analogy here, I think Alan Watts, the philosopher from the 50s, 60s, said, there's two ways of looking at our relations to the world and to the universe, right? One is someone bring us in, right? On the table there, you live your life, whatever you do, and you die. That's the one possibility. So you're two separate entities. He said something that I think I connected better. It's like our relations is like an apple grows on an apple tree. Meaning we are it. So each one of us, in a way, if you want to use a religious term, each one of us is God. If you want to take responsibility, though, God comes with responsibility.
Right.
You cannot just say, "Oh, I'm God," and that's it. No, you're responsible for everything. So I like this better than the other option on this chase to accomplish a lot in this, just because I'm gonna die one day, right? Or the fear. It seems much more reasonable to be apple, grow on an apple tree, because the apple is the tree as well.
Right.
Obviously, it grows another tree, right? So you're a copy, in a way, or you're not copy. You're part
of.
So even part is not the right word.
Yeah.
You're it.
Yeah.
You're it. You're not separated from that.
Yeah.
It's big ideas, I know, but you know what? It works, at least for me. Now, maybe I'm wrong. And I tell people, before they leave my gallery, after I talk to them, I said, listen, maybe I'm a good liar. Don't believe me. Try it out for yourself. That's what I tell them.
Yeah. And I remember you telling me that too.
Yeah. Why should you believe me?
Yeah.
Don't believe anybody. I'm not saying don't love him, but don't believe him. Experiment. Do it yourself. See what you can learn. Because, in a way I can say it, when someone young comes to my studio and they say they want to go study in the university or college, I tell them, great, it's important. But when you're done, now you know what not to do. That means it's someone else's experience. Where is your experience? See, it's a big difference. Go to school, but now you know what not to do. And it's your responsibility to use your abilities, your talent, whatever, because a talent unused is nothing. It's like a Rembrandt in a dark room. It's nothing. It means nothing. So it's your responsibility to not to expect anything from anybody, because you do it because you want to do it, not because you want to get paid back.
Yeah.
Whatever you do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm married 37 years. I don't expect my wife to do things for me. We have good relations, and I love her not because, and I do things for her not because I expect to get something in return, even though she does.
Yeah.
but I don't.
That's not the intention behind it.
So I don't have the down that comes from expectations.
Yeah.
Of what is, because it was marriage now, and I do a lot of marriages, right? I mean, a lot of weddings.
Weddings, yeah.
There's a risk it might turn into a business proposition. Marriage in America, especially, becomes a business proposition in a way. You give me this, I'll give you this. Give me sex, I'll give you money. Whatever. I'm not saying everybody, but saying there is a risk there.
Yeah.
So avoid the risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't expect. Do it because you want to. It's your responsibility to do it.
Right.
Right.
This next portion of the podcast is sponsored by Wicked Tires. Now, we all know that tires can be expensive, and especially with the holidays coming. We can all use a way to save money. And at Wicked Tires, you can save a lot by purchasing from their wide variety of used tires. The guys at Wicked Tires test all the tires and make sure that there are no leaks. Not just that, but they also make sure that their tires have plenty of tread. So what are you waiting for? Go on to Wicked Tires and save big. They also offer great prices on new tires for those who are interested. Check them out on the corner of East State and Alpine Road.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's true.
So,
can you share with us a little bit about your process on painting?
Yeah.
Like, do you know? I mean, yeah. Well, I guess what is it? I have so many questions. Like, how's your process goes?
Yeah. It used to be different. Now I'm telling you about this now. I like to put it in. I always like to create some sort of image here. I like to say that I take the shortest way possible to an unknown place. Now it seems like impossible, because if you don't know where you're going, how do you know it's the shortest way possible, right? It's kind of a tricky.
Yeah.
And this is where the trust comes in. So I don't know where painting is going to go. I don't want to know. Because if I know, again, why should I do it? If I know where the painting is going to end up, it becomes automatic. It becomes more of a technicality.
Yeah.
I don't want technicality. I want to experience and surprise myself along the way. So you go to a forest in a certain route, and said, okay, you know what? I have an even better way of telling you that. Maybe I told you that when you were at my place. So imagine you're in a dark room, dark night outside, standing on a rock. You have to cross a river. You don't see the other side. It's you can hear the water gushing, and you're on one rock, and you have to extend your leg and trust there's going to be a rock there. And you do it over and over again. Now the fun part comes down. you get to the middle, and then you start thinking, wait, I'm enjoying this, trusting. Why should I go to the other side? Let's have a dance instead. You see, it's not where you're going. It's what's the experience going wherever you're going. Mm-hmm. It's way more important because it's about the now. So I don't want to go to the other side. I don't care how the paintings in the end look like. If I'm genuine in my experience, it'll be fine. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see them after that. I'm done because the best painting I ever did is obviously the one I'm going to do tomorrow. Because otherwise, what's the motivation here? Why you're not moving?
Yeah.
Right? So I start by, marking something on a canvas, right? And it takes me to the next place. Now, I do investigate subjects. So let's say I do interiors. So I find different ways of entering the space on my canvas and to surprise myself, to get places I never thought you cannot imagine. Mm-hmm. And I do like 5 or 10 canvases that are experiments on a certain subject, and then I move on to another. So in a way, I call myself a scientist and not an artist. Because an artist comes with a lot of cultural baggage. Suffering artist, starving artist. I don't like this. Because it makes conditions. You have to be 1, 2, 3, 4 in order to be a good artist. No. You don't. There's no conditions on doing art. Mm-hmm. You can do art whenever you want, morning, evening, and afternoon.
No
and
straight lines, no nothing.
So I put a mark on the canvas, and then another mark. Now they have 3 marks, right? So the 4th mark will have to consider the 3 marks before. So the 5th, so you change the balance of the whole thing. Now, a black canvas that I start with black canvases.
Okay.
It's balance. Nothing on it, black canvas, but it's boring balance. I want to make a more and more interesting and complex and intriguing balance. So, you put a mark and then another one, and so everything has to balance, has to speak the same language in a way. Mm-hmm. And I do speak, literally too, a few languages in the art. So I don't have any preconceived ideas. I'm, let's say, a realist, or I'm an abstract painter, or I'm this, or I'm that. I wake up in the morning, if I need a new technique to come up with to move forward, I'll come up with new technique or a new way of new tool or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And I'll jump every once in a while to sculpture too. Actually, and I'm doing light fixtures. I can show you pictures later. It's pretty cool.
Oh, nice.
So sculptural lights, crazy. So since I don't identify, I can do everything I want. I can do paintings, I can do this style, I can do this style. I mean, you come to the galleries, people ask me, how many artists do you have? So 1.
Yeah, that's what I thought too when I got there.
I brought a piece to Cortman Gallery the other day. They have a show about chairs. So they asked me to bring one of my paintings. He asked me, he said, that's not like you. I said, what is like me? I don't know myself. Every morning I wake up, I'm a different person. Yeah. How can you get stuck in the past thinking that you today what we were there yesterday? Mm-hmm. So, if you think, I think one of the things I learned is most of your life, you're going to talk to yourself. 90% of your life, it's an internal conversation.
Yes.
This is 10%, what we're doing now. Mm-hmm. Even with your, if you're married or not, it's still 10% of your whole life. Yeah. 90% inside your head. And it's a language. So learn the language. It's like learning German or learning, Swedish, right? Mm-hmm. What do? You open books, you watch TV, you practice, right? The same thing with your inner language. It's a language, like any other language. You have a certain patterns, you have a certain use of words, a certain tones that you talk to yourself. You have to learn the language. Mm-hmm. When you learn the language, you control your mind. Because the language moves you forward. The inner language, the thought process, as I call it, the mechanical movement of your own thought. Mm-hmm. What happens when a thought is just born in your head, and how it moves and how it affects you. Mm-hmm. So, if you are at the door, so when the thought comes in, and you are aware of it, you allow things in if they're beneficial.
I like that.
If you're not beneficial, you said goodbye, thank you very much. I enjoy seeing you, but I kind of imagine, let's say, someone sitting in the reception in a high-rise building, and people come in and said, "Okay, what do you have to say for yourself? Is that beneficial? If not, goodbye." So, what you do by doing that is you save time by not needing to solve problems that you created by not being aware. Meaning, bad thought comes in, or a thought that's not beneficial comes in. 2 weeks later, you're depressed. You don't know why. That's the thought that came in 2 weeks ago. You just let it fester there. It's just sitting there and make you feel angry and and maybe violent or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So save this time because we need this time to do some good stuff. So don't let it in to begin with. Again, I know it sounds tricky because can you stand always at the door, let's say like a bouncer at the door, right?
Right.
I think I'm a pretty creative guy, but when I deal with the mind or the brain and how it thinks, I look at it like a soldier. I don't let it deviate because I know, I have to kind of make a point here, I'm also a hypnotherapist. So I deal with the brain. So I do hypnosis with people.
Got it.
I know that the brain can be focused on one thing so much, and it can deviate and can take you to places that are robbing you from the now. So everything that brings me to the now, I'm going to use, no matter what it is. And I look at the brain also as it being the most amazing creative machine in the world, but also potentially the most lazy if you don't challenge it. If you do things you think you can, you're wasting your time. It's not challenging. You're actually going backwards. So, if you're uncomfortable, you start discovering yourself. When you do something that makes you uncomfortable, so, okay, that's my line here. So now you know where to break it. Because if you don't know where you start or end, right? Because again, it's all the way I see it, right? Let's put it that straight. So we try to figure out who we are all our life, at least some of us. But it keeps moving. It's a fleeting thing.
Yeah.
You cannot put your finger on it, and especially with habits and stuff. We try to do that, but it's not a good idea.
Right.
Addictions. So it keeps moving all the time. Now, how would you know what is it? What, more or less, give it kind of a quantified kind of thing. By doing things that you're uncomfortable with, and you have a pushback from inside, right? You do something that's like public speaking, right? You're so uncomfortable. It's like, I'm not going to do it, right? But if you do it, so now you know where the line is. So now you can break it. If you don't know where the line is, you don't know how to break it.
Yeah.
So and it'll keep changing the you all the time. But now you have kind of an idea of how maybe you can give it a certain shape or something. Kind of. So you play with it.
Yeah.
This is the line here. Let me break it here. Again, if you don't know yourself enough for that, you're going to move forward, but slower than you could if you knew your
yourself
tools better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This makes sense, right? I like to say it's like driving a car in first gear or fifth gear. The first gear will take you somewhere, but you're going to be sweating, pushing the car every once in a while, changing oil more often, right? It'll get you somewhere. Fifth gear, with the air conditioning on, the radio on, will get you much better places, right? And faster. So, and more comfortable. So I prefer this way. So when I said the brain can be a very lazy machine, I mean exactly that. If you don't challenge it will take you to the lowest place possible. And a lot of people know about it, right?
Yes.
You allow it to penetrate and it take you down. And I don't have time for going down.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. It's too sweet and short to waste it on the down.
True.
So you take control. And if you control it, you know what? You're on top of the game in a way. And if it ends tomorrow, I said, thank you, it was a wonderful ride. You won't feel sorry that you should have, could have, and would have.
Yeah.
Again, no time for that.
Yeah. Well,
So
that's awesome.
I did have to say that, I do have to say that it's also taught me to be so efficient. I mean, in the past, it took me quite a long time to finish a painting. Now I finish in 2 days and I hear my voice saying, work slower. You're going to be covering your gallery with artwork and you won't have room.
Yeah.
In the past, I was saying, okay, man, what going to do now? I'm not sure. I think when you're present, there's only one best option staring you at the face. There's not two. If you have two options, that means you're confused. Oh, should I do this? I'm not sure. Should I do this? No, should I do this? That's confusion. when you're present, there's only one best option, staring you in the face, right? I know it's a very appealing concept because you don't have to make decisions anymore, at least not the way you used to.
Yeah.
So it's right there. The writing is on the wall. Just grab like a low-hanging fruit in a way. That's how I feel. But so it alleviates a lot of suffering and pressure, makes life, much more optimistic too.
Right.
And a fun joyride. I wish more people could do that.
I know.
I'm doing my part to share these ideas. I don't sell anything to them. I don't tell them like a religion. It's not. It's your responsibility. Take responsibility over your own brain, your mind. Make sure they're sharp, they're present, and you're gonna enjoy the ride. You don't need much. I mean, I don't need a vacation. I'm on vacation all the time.
Yeah.
It's weird to say that because most people say, "Oh, they're tired, they need a vacation." I tell people if you wake up in the morning excited about what's coming, right? You are looking forward. That's a good type of losing sleep over. It's a good thing. You lose sleep over excitement, not depression, not suffering. So now my role, I in the last few years, I figured out what my mission is. To alleviate suffering in the world, one way or another, with words, with art, with make the world just a tiny bit better, but less suffering, because we have enough. We don't need to add to that, right?
Sure do.
I know I'm sounding like maybe like a what do you call people spiritual. It's not about that. It's about actually it's working. It's working. Try it out, and come and tell me if it works because I know it does. So you have to challenge what we think, what the main concept in society is that life goes ups and down. We know that life can go only down for some people.
Yeah.
Most people think this is kind of a wave, right? One day you're up, one day you're down. I say, just be curious and challenge every concept that you thought yesterday is true, because it's most likely wrong today, right? Can life go only up? It's a fair question, right? I mean, we're allowed, it's democracy, we're allowed to ask the question. I said, yes, it can be. It's up to you. It's not up to anything else. Now, is going to be bad things happening around you? Sure, they will happen. But the majority of the life, it's not like that. And you're going to be up on top of the game. Again, not because you're better, just because you want to use the time in the best way possible, because it's your responsibility to get the best out of what you got.
Yeah.
You got 2 legs, a good brain, 2 arms. Even if you have 1 leg, it's fine too. I'm kidding, right? But yeah, as long as you have control over your brain, you can do things that thought are never possible. So now I don't look at Picasso said I want to compare myself. So no, that was his ride. This is my ride. I'm experiencing something different. So there's what makes the world interesting is we all have different experiences, and we better be present when they happen, because otherwise you're living someone else's life.
Yeah.
And it's not good.
Yeah.
One is enough. 1 Picasso is enough. We don't need 2.
Right. Oh, that's excellent.
So
I'm curious to know if you've ever painted something that you didn't like.
That I didn't like. Well, I can say that a lot of paintings that since I don't have a lot of room, I paint over paintings. So there's some canvases like 3 or 4 paintings, one on top of the other.
Oh.
Yeah, because I don't have room. So again, I don't connect. I don't look at them this way.
Okay.
Maybe in the past, possibly. I wasn't too satisfied, but I am over that.
You're over that stage.
Yeah. It doesn't happen to me now.
Okay.
It doesn't happen to me now, because since you don't know where you're going, you cannot be judgmental over that. You're experimenting, so you don't know where you're going to end up. So you can only be judgmental if you know where you're going. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense to be judgmental because you don't know, right? So in the last few years, I think whatever came out was the experience itself. Right? Some of experience can be more interesting than others. What was the experience? So you added something to your knowledge about yourself, your life, and whatever it is, and limits.
Yeah.
Improvisation. And so you learn to improvise and to enjoy improvisation, what a lot of people are not comfortable with.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear you say, that, because you normally hear people are always challenging themselves in different ways and how to be better. And oh my God, I wasn't enough. And so it's really nice to hear just a totally different perspective.
Yeah, it's judging. It's called judging.
Yeah.
You judge yourself based on your limited experience of yourself, or look at others, right? So you say, oh, I'm not as good as them, or I should do this like they're doing it. Or you become so judgmental towards yourself or others. And I say it's a waste of time. I don't have time to waste. It's a waste of time, seriously. Now, you might get stuck with it, one day, maybe hopefully for you, you can, not necessarily you, but you can get out of it.
Yeah.
Because you're wasting your time and you're going to be sorry later on. I tell people, don't blink. 10 years are gone in a second. Don't blink. Life is too awesome to even blink.
Yeah.
So it's an awesome ride. It's up to you, though.
Yep.
Just be curious. I say I'm totally against goals, for instance. I think goals are terrible. I said, what are you talking about, goals? We are a goal-oriented society. It's all about goals, right? You have set a goal, and you think that's the only way to get somewhere. So your goal is basically very limited. How much knowledge do you know of yourself? How much experience do you have? It's limited, right? So your goals are limited already. Now imagine you have a rock in the middle of a field, and you're aiming your eyes to that, and you're going to go there. So first of all, it blocks what's beyond. Obviously, you have like a rock right in the middle, right? And secondly, you miss all the opportunities that come from the side because you concentrate so highly. I know as a hypnotherapist how deep people can concentrate on things. So you have blinders, and you miss free opportunities that come every second of the day, right? I say better, don't have a goal, but be curious. And when I say be curious, that means the definition for me of curiosity is admitting you don't know, but let's find out. It's 10 times better or 100 times better than your limited goal, because now nothing can stop you. Let's find out. So that's why I call myself a scientist, because I want to find out. I don't want to be marked as any. See, scientist gives me enough freedom to experiment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And experiment about life, Life
Yeah.
is amazing to experiment with. It's a play with. It's like a Play-Doh. Right? So it's like, it's unbelievable. And it comes in different shapes and colors, and it's a celebration. Life is a celebration. We take it for granted.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love it.
The more I talk about it, the more I get excited.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it. You talk to yourself. I used to, 2008, big collapse. I had a gallery, really expensive. I didn't want to lower the rent. So I was like, okay, what do I do? Nobody buys art. 2008 was the big collapse. So I said, okay, I was kind of getting sad in a way. I said, what do I do? So I said, okay, what's the opposite of sadness and depression? I said, okay, laughter. So I'm looking at Google, right? Or YouTube. And I said, there's what you call yoga laughter. So I'm watching some videos. I'm learning it through the videos, and I open my own group, right? So now I have for a year or two, I had groups of people coming, and we're laughing together.
Really?
Just so they said, one of the saying is, fake it until you make it. Meaning you start faking it, and the brain doesn't know the difference.
It's true.
Subconscious mind takes it as a positive, and then you start laughing for no good reason. And you don't need a good reason to laugh, because life is, in a way, funny and amazing. So I find myself laughing when I drive sometimes, just out of nowhere, because you get used to laugh.
Yeah.
So I did. When I did 2 years, I had my own. People still asking me, when are you opening the next one? So it's been a while.
Yeah.
So you find ways. So you take advantage of whatever life gives you, and not whatever you wish it to be. That's being, in a way, an opportunist, in a good sense, not in the negative sense of, I'm going to use you.
Right.
But use whatever it gives you. It gives you so much without you adding to that your expectations and your fears and your habits and your addictions and your goals. Who needs them? They block your sight, right? They put glasses on you that are tinted based on your past experience or whatever. So you think who you are. I'm going to act this way. It becomes automatic. Now, automatic is machine at the car factory. That's what automatic is. We're not automatic. We shouldn't be automatic. We should be, every second should be different than the second before.
So how would you say, like, when a person say they think that they know themselves because based off of past experiences they've reacted a certain way, what would you say to a person like that?
First of all, you don't know yourself fully because until the day you die. So whatever you know is already it's limited.
Yeah.
Now, but if your mind is open for experiences, you learn faster and in more fun way about yourself. Do I know everything about it? No, I don't. And I'll keep changing all the time.
Yeah.
But what I learned is to trust yourself to the highest degree. Again, not because you're better than anybody, just because it's much more fun, right, to trust yourself. See, there's no failing. Because you think failing is also based on expectations. You have a goal, you can fail or success based on your goals.
Yeah.
You cannot fail if you fully engage in a moment. There's no failing because it doesn't make any sense to judge it this way. You don't know. You're finding out. And this is a void for people. They don't like to go there because it's an unknown, and people don't like the unknown. They like to plan. We are planners.
Yeah.
So when you plan a lot, you miss life, or at least big portion of it, or at least it becomes pretty harsh.
Yeah.
Or it has the potential to be painful and something that you want to run away from, to a vacation or run away, whatever it is, because you don't know how to deal with it. I think it's not good.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I was there. Not as bad, but I was there. I was there before kind of a light bulb came to me and said, oh, you know what? Something is not working right. I had art, I was painting, I was doing okay. Something wasn't engaging enough. And I said, you know what? It's time to do things that I'm comfortable with. It just happens this way. So I'm, again, looking on YouTube. So what do artists do in the world that is unique and I never did before? Okay, so I was looking at, okay, they're performing live. Okay, so people, they have, I don't know if you've seen that they have this artist doing 10 minutes, and then put it upside down and you see a portrait of somebody, right? And I did some homework on that and I found out it's marked. So it's marked. There's no experience there. So they practice at home. It's faintly marked, so they kind of put the paint on and then they flip it. And people are, oh. I said, I want my experience. No, I don't want, I'm not doing it for the show. I wanted my experience to be interesting. So I said, okay. I'm going to give myself an hour. I had an opening. I invited people to look at me paint for 1 hour. So I had a musician next to me, and I have to finish a painting in 1 hour, right? So now you're pushing yourself time-wise. An hour?
Yeah.
How can you finish a painting in an hour?
Yeah.
Well, it is possible. So I did few of these, of painting live, and I actually came up pretty cool, because you don't have the time to think. You just react. You have 1 hour. At one point in time, someone came to me and said, do you do weddings? And I learned to say yes to everything. I never say no.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
And so I went to the wedding and I kind of engaged them in painting, and then developed to now doing so many events. I do team building I work with American Airlines, with Blue Cross Blue Shield. I work with the City of Chicago.
Oh, wow.
I work with big corporations and then a lot of weddings too.
Wow.
Fundraisers so it led me there. So if I wouldn't do that, I would never be here now. Meaning doing what I do with my, whenever I go to a wedding, for instance, or any event, right before I start, I close my eyes and tell myself, remember, you are here to have fun, not to work. The minute it turns into work, you're done. That's it. It's not going to work anymore.
Yes.
It becomes hassle. It becomes something that you have to do.
Yeah.
It's not just something you have to do or you need to do. It's something you want to do. It brings responsibility.
Yeah.
So it taught me a lot. Just putting myself out there, I'm much more friendly with people now. I can joke around with people. I have so much fun. I dance. I dance with the family. I feel like friends for years. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And it's a better option than the other option of going to do a job, and what people fall into a lot. I don't want to go there. I want to have fun. And if it becomes a job one day, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
It's time to move on. Yeah, it's do something different.
Yeah.
To spruce it into do something that I thought is impossible. I don't know, painting upside down. I'm just kidding, but doing things that are on its face looks impossible,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, and that led me to understand time differently too. You have an hour, right? An hour is not a lot of time to finish a painting. And I'm talking about 3 by 4 feet, so it's a relatively large canvas.
Right.
So I first of all learned that expectations can be in the way there. So put them aside. I also learned something about the concept of time. Now, I might be wrong. It's not scientific, but I have my own
Theory
observation on it. So I thought this way. When you go on vacation, time flies. Poof, it's gone, right? Mm-hmm. A weekend or a whole week, it's almost done. You're overthinking. It's like, I have like 3 doors. I have 2 days. I have 1 day, and it's gone. Mm-hmm. And so you look back, it was so little time. When you have hard time goes really slow. We should be over, right? So what it means, and at least in my perception, that your brain gives time its essence. So you're the creator of time, because time doesn't exist up in the air. It's relative to how we perceive it, right? Mm-hmm. It's like time out there. So you give time its meaning, and so if you could find a way to understand the mechanics of how we perceive time, you can make time anything you want. You can make 1 hour feel like 7 hours. All right? Mm-hmm. So it's up to you. It's your brain. Now, if you have control over that, suddenly, 1 hour became a lot of time. I actually I have a musician next to me, play for an hour, and like 10 minutes before the end of it, said, okay, work slower. Now I'm thinking reverse. So you're rushing. Work slower, because I could feel like I can put things together and it's balanced, it's beautiful. So meaning even 1 hour, if I can stretch it to feel like 7 hours, and I'm still practicing this part, but you become the creator of time. Mm-hmm. Think about it just a second. It's amazing. You are by your brain gives time its essence, its elasticity, its taste. It's like, shedding a light on something. Suddenly you see, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. So you are in charge of it. How to use it, it's up to you. You can do anything you want with it. Mm-hmm. It's amazing, if you think of yourself as the creator of time in a way, or the one that gives it a meaning.
Yeah. All this mind stuff, though, I feel like it probably takes some practice to get to that point, though, right?
Yeah, I practice, not on this aspect, but I knew in the beginning it would be harder because the brain keeps running away. It takes you here, takes you there. Even when you drive, you pass your own streets. Oh, my own street! I passed my own street. What's going on? So, that's the awareness thing, is where you're always feeling or touching the present moment. You're always there. It's like a fabric. So the time becomes part of it. You start appreciating time differently too, because it's like, okay, now it's like someone has, so like a kid, they give you some, clay. Let's play with it. So you learn how to play with this new tool. When I started doing this, I had some funny experiences. So I was returning a car from, I had a rented car, and so I'm driving out of my garage, right? And I pushed the button to lower the garage door, and I remembered that I forgot something at home. So I stopped in the middle, and my mind wasn't there. So I ran with my head, my glass broke, I just right into the door. That's my new teacher right now. So it becomes my new teacher. Mm-hmm, okay, mm-hmm. It's a reminder. I used to put notes on the refrigerator. Bring yourself to the now. Now it sounds, and after a while you get used to that, so you have to change it, constantly change it.
Yeah.
So I had a bird pooping right in front of on a wheelchair while I was driving, right there, staring me in the face, right in front of me. So there's two options: either you stop the car and you clean it, or you use the wipers, or say, okay, it's my new teacher now. Bird poop, from all things, right? So you have to do this in order to see. So, okay, this will remind me. So I did small things like that. It keeps reminding you, because after a while it becomes a habit. Habits are not good. Besides brushing your teeth, the rest of the habits are not good. It makes you automatic. Unless you work with a machine to cut your hand off. So even this is not good. So, your brain will constantly, at least in the beginning, will try to run away. So you have to bring it back. I will put notes, small reminders, again and again, again. Eventually it becomes second nature. So you don't have to do that. It's just, and then you start enjoying it. And as I like to tell people, when you enjoy chocolate, you eat a lot of chocolate, right? When you enjoy being in the present, you want more of it, because you have more power, again, not to control things, but power in your own life. It's like internal battery, not a false or a false energy that comes from outside, but something that you create. And if you're on the target there, there's so much of it. You don't know what to do with this energy. You start creating a lot. You talk to people. And again, I don't sell anything, but the excess energy moves on to other people. And if it does good, it's again another win here. And it doesn't matter who you are, as long as you can think and you can reason moderately even, you can make it work.
Yeah.
Now you can make a choice if you want to suffer and have maybe some ups and downs, or I want my life to go only up with whatever it brings.
And then you have that door.
Yeah, I mean, it is a choice. I think
Yeah.
some people say, "Oh, it's not a choice because I was born a certain way and I had a certain upbringing and a certain experience, and it's impossible, and you feel not in control and irresponsible in a way." Wait, is it possible? Yes, it is. It is absolutely possible. Now, you can. If someone wants to try and prove me wrong, fine. Let's have a discussion. Tell me why it's not working for you. If you're fully honest
Committed
with
to
yourself,
yeah.
if you're fully, let's say, genuine. Now, that takes me to another point where, what is genuine? Human beings are the most prolific liars to themselves. We can win a Nobel Prize for lying. We're so good at it. Lying to ourselves, right? Now, the self-lies are the worst lies. Because if I lie to you, I know I'm lying. If I lie to myself, I think it's true.
Yeah.
10 times more dangerous.
Yeah.
So first of all, get rid of your own lies about who you think you are, who you think you should be. All of these lies that you accumulated in life. So don't lie. It makes life much more smooth, because then you can be fully engaged. Otherwise, it's like you in and out, and it's not a good thing. You know what happens when you use a switch too many times? Eventually, it burns, right? So you want to be on all the time, but also not forgetting that your job is to see the details, but at the same time oscillate to the big picture. Meaning you cannot get stuck in the details, like a lot of people do get stuck in the details of life, and brings a lot of suffering because, you lose the big picture. Some people only on the big picture. That means they're dreamers, nothing happens. So your job, also as an artist,
Yeah.
I put a mark on the canvas. I have to walk 20 feet away to see the big picture. The corner needs to fall into place. So in a way I can imagine, let's say, imagine myself, 200 miles up in the air looking down. So this is as far, right? As far as you can go. Everything's like, this is so stupid. No, what am I wasting my time on, right? So you get a bigger picture, so you can give yourself kind of direction. It's like a navigation, right? So you go there, you look down, and then you can go back to the details. But knowing that you have to oscillate between the two constantly, otherwise you lose the balance. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So if we can keep the balance, it's like walking on a rope, right? In the beginning, you go, after a while, it's like, okay, that's fun. Let's have fun walking on the rope. You can fall here and you can fall there, but you trust yourself. Again, I come back to the trust.
Yeah.
I don't know how to walk on a rope, by the way, but I can imagine. I did jump off airplanes, so yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. I was in the military too, so.
Oh.
Yeah, in Israel, everybody has to.
Has to do it.
Yeah, I did 3-4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I experienced that. So I had some experience there, but I feel like now, at the age that I am, 62, 10 times more energetic and more prolific and moving faster than I was in my 20s and 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Now that's a gift.
Yeah.
That's a gift, you
Yeah.
know. Compared to most people my age, slowly are getting slower and slower. And then you become older faster, obviously, because your body, obviously, my body is not as young, but my mind is like
Right. Well, because
racing.
people say, I hear that all the time. People are constantly telling themselves that they're old and sick and this and that. And I'm like,
Right.
Why would you say that to yourself?
Words, like hypnosis. With words, you can put your mind into a certain pattern, and that is hypnosis. That we, by the way, as human beings, are in it big part of the day, no matter what, even by ourselves. Because when you concentrate on something so deeply, you're not there to. By the way, it creates a lot of mistakes and accidents.
Yeah.
So if you're present, you cut down 90%, 95% of your accidents in life. Think about it. 95% of your accidents can be, so you don't have to waste time fixing things later. So you wasted more. You save more time. You might save 5-10 years of your life by not getting in situation you shouldn't be in to begin with, right?
Right.
That you're so proud getting out of because you just wasted time.
Yeah.
And time was of the essence here. You want to use like a diamond. You want to use it in the best way possible.
Yeah. That's
So-
awesome. Thank you for sharing all of that. It's definitely
It's my responsibility, by the way, to share.
share.
I'm probably going to be, so when people come to my gallery and I talk to them about it, I tell them, listen, the minute you're gone, you're done, I'll forget you were here. Not because I don't like you, I think you're a nice person, because if I when think about it, that means I'm going to robbing myself from the now again. So I put it aside. You are fully engaged. You don't need to revisit it, because you did everything you should be doing and saying right there. Then you move on to the next experience, right? Otherwise, you always have this strings attached to the past, things you didn't do, things you should have done, all the things you left half done, half baked. Right? So now, as you get older and older, the number of strings getting so big that you have to put much more pressure moving forward, because it's like rubber bands. Eventually, it becomes harder and harder. You become smaller, you hunch down, your spirit becomes, again, not everybody, but a lot of people. So you have to work 10 times harder to move forward. So no, disconnect all the strings
Chords,
attached, because they make no sense judging the now based on your previous knowledge, because life changed.
There's a meditation for that, actually, cord cutting.
yeah?
Yeah. So
There you go.
Yeah,
See,
I
I
can
mean,
relate.
I didn't know that, but it seems really reasonable. And
Yeah.
if you put it as a visual guy, I like to, because we are visual. Human beings are visual usually. They can. Most people are visual.
Yeah.
So if you tell them the story in pictures,
paint it in a picture.
they remember it better.
Yeah.
Than if you just use very sophisticated words that
Yeah.
you don't understand necessarily, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride, and it will continue as long as I decide to move forward with this. So, if I don't paint, I sculpt. I wake up in the morning at 8 o'clock. I have my wood studio at home, so I do some sculpture. And I work 2 hours until 10. Then I go to my gallery. I'm there until 5. And then I can't even wait to get home to do 2 or 3 more hours at home. Now, it's a long day.
Yeah.
I do feel tired, but it's a kind of exciting tiredness. It's like a kid. So they told him, tomorrow you're going to get a great gift. So they can't sleep. They're so excited, right? That's the level. That's the way we should be. Excited like a kid getting a present every day. And it's the reality. I mean, it's a present. Every day is a present.
Yep.
So don't take it for granted.
Yeah. Now, when you're doing traveling and you're doing these events and stuff like that, at the moment, what is your favorite type of event that you do?
Any event, doesn't matter.
Any?
The same. I feel the same because for me it's a celebration. Because I mean, it can be a let's say a memorial, right? It's a different type of event, right? Someone dies, right? So you work with people that are mourning, right? But you bring some light into it, and that makes me happy. And it makes me happy. It makes them happy too. And then you have some really nice heirloom to keep, and in the end. But I don't have any favorites. I like them all. Just bring them on, and I love the nature, the improvisational nature of it. Again, because I don't want to know where I'm going. Why should I? You want to go new places. You want to go new things. You want to do things you never did before. So after a while, you're craving. I kind of joke that I create problems intentionally to solve them. Because I enjoy what people call problem. I call them opportunities. So
Yeah.
it's a language you talk to yourself.
Yeah.
You want to call something a problem? You own one now. You cannot buy a problem in the store. They don't exist out there.
Yeah.
You know, you by saying the word
Problem.
you own one.
Yeah.
Say an opportunity, so bring it on. You know, you want to know what is your ability to solve it in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Right. Much more exciting than
Yeah.
I have a problem. You know?
Yeah.
Or the people say I need. You only need to pee, eat, and sleep. The rest is a want.
Yeah.
Because want brings responsibility. Need doesn't. It's a need. You have to. There's no other possibility here. But when you say, I want something, okay, this brings responsibility onto the game. It's not a need. People say, I need this. You don't need it. You don't need anything. It's basic. You want it. Now, play the game. It's your game. You want it. It brings responsibility, so you're fully engaged to make things work. So don't use the word need. So there's all these small words that we talk to ourselves that creates the reality in our own brain. And it's the language I was talking in the beginning. Understand your language. How do you talk to yourself? Everybody has their own language, right? Soft, loud, fast, slow, a certain choice of words, a certain length of sentences even. This is the way we talk to yourself. We talk like a regular language, right? So you're speaking words to yourself because that's the way thought works, right?
Yeah.
If you can design it any way you want, if you have control of it, you're on top of the game because you create your reality, right? Now, I do want to make a distinction here between the physical world and the internal world, right? Because, you know, a certain experience, memory is needed. If you're in the real world, you have to know how to drive a car or not to cross in front of a bus while talking on the phone, right? Because, you know, you learn.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that the physical world, you have to have a certain time meeting with somebody. You don't want to, you respect their time, you're going to be there on time. But most of your life is going to be inside your head. And this is where the problem starts.
Yeah.
Inside our head, not outside. We pretend we lie great. We pretend that everything is well, but inside, you know, people are angry and mad, and so they become acidic. That's another thing. Your body becomes sick. Because, you know, there's a research there for many years now that most of our sicknesses come from the way we feel towards ourselves.
Yeah.
Depression, suffering, you know, all of these things that we keep inside, and they become bad. It's like a bad apple. Eventually they, you know, maybe I'll lose a pear because I use the apple for the other thing. Like a bad pear, right?
Yeah.
It goes bad.
Yep.
Does it make sense?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It does make sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of these I got from doing painting. There's many other ways of finding out these things. This was fun. This is a fun way, not life-risking way, and it's enjoyable too. So win-win there as well. You can do it in many other ways. You can be creative in many other ways. Even public speaking words is a creative form. People can tell stories, poetry, whatever the case is. There's many ways. Let's put it like that, because one of the main things people tell me when I go to events is I'm not creative. It's not bullshit. Your brain, the main function of the brain is a creative machine. If you put two sentences together, you're creative. That's what the brain does. It's not a library. That's what we make it a library. We store things in it, and then we become librarian. You get paid. How fast you can bring the memory out in a lot of jobs. I said, wait, the brain is a creative machine. Why should we bog it down by things that shouldn't be there? Because part of the brain is busy with storing the information. Other parts, as I like to say, let's say beliefs, right? I mean, this can be a touchy issue for some people. I have a problem with belief as well. So what is belief? Belief has a potential of being blind. Because when you believe in something today, and it's tomorrow as well, you don't check yourself because you believe. There's nothing to check anymore. You just believe. That means, at least in my mind, that it's blind. It's there. Now, it's like putting the belief in a room in the brain, locking the door and throwing away the key. That's what it means, actually. It's there. It's like the stuff we put in the garage, piling up stuff that we collect, right? We don't need it, but it's there. We don't throw it away. It's there. We got used to it. It bothers us we have to go around it, we have to jump over it, but it's there. We don't want to move it, right? It's the same thing with the brain. We clutter it with so much stuff, it cannot do its main function is to be creative. So when someone tells me they're not creative, I tell them it's bullshit. You're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Now, you can accept it or not. It's up to you. It's your life. But we are creative machines. The most amazing creative machine ever. Why do you want to waste this? Right? It's like, you use it the best way possible.
Yeah, yeah. Have you had any wild experiences or memorable experiences just throughout your journey of having your business or, painting or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, by the same token, every day is amazing experience.
Yes.
Every day that you wake up and you look forward to it, it becomes the most important day in your life. I had, previous experience, obviously military, and especially when I move to something new and I can feel the jump, okay, I get excited. So every time, I mean, I don't have anything to say that is, out of the ordinary, besides, again, jumping from airplanes is a whole different ball game there. But it's every day, I don't want to sound corny here, but every day I wake up in the morning, I don't jump out of bed, but it's like this, but that's the feel.
Yeah.
So if I don't do this, I'll create with this. Okay. Oh, I saw this material. So you almost become like you devour life. You want to eat it as you go. So I don't want to put in a scale, because today was the best day. Tomorrow we're going to be even better. It's like the paintings. What you did today, or what you're going to do tomorrow, is the best painting you ever did. In the same token. The other experience that I had, as I look back, they don't seem so much too important, even though they might be unique. But again, I don't want it to rob me from the now.
Yeah.
I don't want to go into nostalgia.
Yeah.
I feel nostalgia is bad. That means you weren't fully there experiencing. Now you have to pay the price, and you have to go back, either running away from the now, because that's what it means. It's not good today, but I'm going to have some good memories from the past, right? It's kind of running away from the now. And it's not a good place to be for me. I feel like life is happening now, right now. It's as sharp as a knife. Life should be sharp as a knife. Constantly, you have to sharpen it constantly, and walk on the edge of the knife. This is how being present feels like.
Yeah.
Like walking on the edge of a knife. And have fun with it, right? And dance on it. That's how. So tomorrow, I'm looking forward to what tomorrow is going to bring to me. Tomorrow, I'm not talking about a month from now. So I have something waiting in line. I start creating lights now. So I put something up on the ceiling. I'm going to have to think about tomorrow. I'm going to dream about it. And I'm going to jump out of bed tomorrow morning, and I'm going to do whatever it needs to do. And I'm going to have a new light fixture, interesting, and whatever the case is.
Yeah.
So I didn't paint in the last few days because I was doing sculpture, but also I had like 3 weddings in the last 2 weeks. So I'm taking some time off here and I'm moving to the 3D. By the way, I paint like a 3D guy. I paint like a sculptor, not like a painter. That means especially when I have like black canvas, it's not white. I don't start white, I start black. It's from other reasons, but I don't add paint on the canvas. In my mind, I chip away the light. So when the brush goes on my canvas, it's chip away. It's like walking on a rock, right? So you have a rock and you chip away, right? It's the same thing. I feel like I'm chipping away. So I have like 3D concept. And if you look at all my work, most of my work is like dramatic.
It is
shedding and light and colors, because that's what life's about for me. It's like a sculpture. So it almost becomes real in a way, even though I know it's illusion. But I feel like it's like 3D. It's like you're carving a little bit of light here. It's like you're part of it. You are. I feel like I'm inside, and I can see the rock there. It's like, okay, take a little bit of piece. So it seems like pretty easy for me because it's there. I can see it happening as it is, and if you trust yourself, perfect. You know what's the next one. That's the next one, and this will affect this. So you have to add a light here, add some darkness here, add some light here. So you start creating this 3D effect. This very I like drama, not in life, but in my paintings. Drama is awesome.
Yeah.
It puts a lot of possibilities out there.
Yeah.
Right? In a poetic way.
Yeah.
Drama.
No, yeah. Everything you say is so inspiring. It sounds like you created this like tremendous amount of trust in yourself, and you like to live in this like obviously in the present, and I don't know how you do it as far as like living on edge. Like you've created this excitement towards the unknown, which is
I mean,
it's impressive.
Again, if you know where you're going, why the hell you want to go there?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to go new places. And in our times, not only that, we lost our journey. Because, in the past, people go like take a horse and a buggy and we'll go through the nature. Now it's an airport. Boop, you're there, half an hour, you're there. There's no journey. You miss the journey is gone. The experience of moving from one place to the other is gone. That's it. So I said, wait, what's life about? Life's about the experience. It's not about it. I mean, what are you achieving?
Yeah.
You're going to be forgotten 50, 100, 200, in some cases 5,000 years later. You're nobody.
Yeah.
But what about your experience? What can you add to this universe with your own personal experience? With the knowledge that you're responsible for yourself, for others, and the environment as well. If you walk on the street and you see garbage, pick it up and put it in a garbage can. It's part of your responsibility. You're it. Now, if someone else doesn't do it, it's not my issue. I'm not going to tell him, pick it up. I'm going to do it myself. It makes me feel good that I'm responsible on that as well. And I'm responsible in people's life as well. Not to do the job for them, but responsible in a way not to hurt them in any way possible. Or at least alleviate their suffering if they have any, even if it's a small amount. You do your job. So you're the apple. What is your responsibility? Everything. Now, are there starving kids in Africa? Sure. Are there starving kids in Asia? Sure. Whatever you can do in your environment, do. I mean, it's your responsibility. Some people say, well, you're going to be judged later on it. So I say differently. I said, it's your duty. It's beyond responsibility. It's your duty to be responsible for yourself and others and the environment. Now, I'm not saying if you're holding something in your hand and you don't have any spare hand, right? But when you can, and it happens most of the time, pick it up, put it in the garbage, right? A cleaner street is much nicer than a dirty street, right? I'm not going to give someone a hard time unless I see him right there. But I'm going to expect them to do it. I'm going to do it and move on. Not only it does good to the earth, it makes you feel good too.
Yeah.
And I think we build on these small moments of awareness of how much good we can do. It's amazing. We can do a lot of good stuff
Yeah.
as well. But we have to get out of ourselves in a way, and out of our fears and expectations and all of these things that I mentioned before. So the mind will be ready to have a good story. Full of stories today, huh? Year ago, a guy came in. So he was deaf and mute. So he comes down the stairs. I think it was the Corona time too. So he cannot understand anything he says.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a paper and a pen, so he's writing down things, and you can barely maybe kind of get a word here, a word there, but mostly writing. I was sitting with him for like 45 minutes, talking to this guy, and doing my best to. He left. He had tears in his eyes. You know why? Because nobody has the time to listen. And this guy's smart. You lock inside yourself like a prison. You're walking with your own prison wherever you go because nobody has time for you. Well, I don't know how to spend the time.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to spend the time with people who can talk, let alone people that cannot talk
Right.
and they cannot hear.
Right.
So they have to read your lips, and you have to write every once in a while. And what a good conversation. Actually, I wrote a piano piece that I was so inspired by him. Him feeling so good. I wrote like a 10 minutes piece on my piano that I'm teaching myself how to play now, just because I felt so connected to this moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's small things that makes you feel like that's the right thing to do.
Right.
And you do more and more of these things, and you appreciate more other people. Because there's no bad story. There's someone that doesn't know to tell the story. The story there's no boring story.
Mm-hmm.
It's how you tell it.
Yeah.
And so you can be highly creative in how to tell a story.
Yes.
And so there's no boring here. So I don't have any good stories. Well, yes, you do. You have to know how to tell it.
Yeah.
So this is one of the examples. I mean, it made me feel great. These guys was so happy that someone finally listened more than, let's say, 2 sentences.
Mm-hmm.
Like 45 minutes conversation. Not necessarily about hearing or not. It was whatever.
Just
I don't remember. It was like a year ago. So these small things that appear in your life, take them. Don't push them away. We are all the same. We're all, as I say, nobodies. So you know better than anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself to that. It might sound like a religious thing here, but no, it's not.
Yeah, no.
It's without the religion, without putting the religion in here.
Yeah.
I think, even if you go to religion, you can look at the Bible. What does it say? Is that God made us in His own image. His own image cannot be non-perfect. We are. You have to know how to use your brain for that in your mind.
Yeah.
So it's up to you.
It's so interesting because that's actually something that I'm practicing at the moment is the mind and controlling my mind because I deal with anxiety. So
Yeah, if you know that something, let's say someone has a fear of heights, for instance. So what do you do? Some fear of heights is reasonable. You don't want to stand on the edge of a building and say, oh, everything is fine, because you can fall, and some people do. But you have to challenge yourself, because if it interferes in your life enough for preventing you from doing things, take care of it. Meaning you do just that.
yeah.
You challenge yourself to that, and then you move on. You don't want to waste time on that, because every time it happens in your high place, I'm afraid, it changes your life, and it prevents you from doing things, and then you forget about it, you ignore it, and then it comes the next time. I say all of these small things, all of these small fears, get rid of them as fast as you can notice them, because then your plate is clean, so you can fill it up whatever you want, not whatever it's forced upon you.
Yeah.
So and we have a lot of small things like that, small attachments and fears that are unexplainable, because no one teaches us from a very young age how to understand our own.
Yes.
Now, listen, you can explain to a child 6 years old that behind these 2 eyes, beautiful eyes, there's a big, amazing machine here. Mm-hmm. It can give you everything you want, but you have to know how to read it, how to work. Now, in their level, obviously, 6 years old.
Right.
But you challenge them to be curious, to ask questions. And it all comes from behind your eyes. Now, the funny thing is, because it's behind your eyes, you don't see it, you think it's not there. Well, it is there. It is there. Your brain is waiting for you to be used in the best way possible.
Yep.
So don't slack on that. And again, it's something that you have to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it becomes better and better with time.
Yeah.
What's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. If I'm going to change, who knows? But for now, it feels like the right thing. The world is going into kind of a problematic times now. It can, some people live, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? So, if you have control of it, do something. If not, move on. If someone falls in the street, you give them a hand and you move on. You don't double their suffering. You don't, see, I have a problem with some words in English that they say, be not compassionate, but so you identify with their pain. What is the word for that? I forgot. You identify with their pain. So now you double the pain in the world, because now you're on part of it, because you're suffering too. They're suffering, you're suffering too. So no, help them up and move on. You don't have to take their suffering. Unless you want to do something, act and move on. You cannot double. When you double the suffering in the world, you're doing the wrong thing. Meaning every action should be judged based, is this going to add to my suffering or someone else's suffering, or is it going to alleviate? So this is a very, very basic question. If the action has a chance of making someone suffer, it's not a good action. I know it's weird, again. Obviously, it's a bit more complex than that, but it's a pretty basic question. Is my action going to add to my suffering or not? Now, this is a level of awareness we need to even ask the question at the right time. But it ends up in an action that you take. Words can take you to a point, but there's meaningless if there's no actions behind it. So you act, and you move on. Don't double the suffering. Someone else says, empathy. They call it empathy.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was thinking of the word.
They're so empathic. They feel the pain. I feel your pain. It's like, why the hell? You want to do something, help me, and move on. Because now you have twice. And someone else is, no, so now your husband or wife or whatever, your friend is feeling your suffering. Now they're suffering too, because they love you, right, in a way. So now there's like 3 people suffering. Are you kidding me? I mean, we have so much of it. We don't need to add to that. It's your responsibility not to add to that. You take action, you fix the situation, and you move on. And you spend time with somebody. You don't keep them in your mind. You move on to the next thing. So you have to be present. And present meaning you have to be fully here. 100%. There's no 99%. No 99.9%. Either you're here, it's a very binary. Here or not, 0 or 1. Here, great. If you're not, there's a price to pay.
Yeah.
By accidents and mistakes and, amazing. If you can avoid 90% of the accidents or 95% of accidents in life, think about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So life can be already kind of brings it up a few notches, right?
Yeah.
Someone said it nicely. They said it's like walking above ground 2 inches. Not there. 2 inches. So there's a certain lightness to that, a certain fun that comes with feeling this lightness, that nothing is holding you down to the ground. So it's like boom, boom. It's like you walk and like people don't even notice how they walk. So it's like you're a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially after a good, breakfast. You feel lighter. And it's always, for me, it's much better possibility than the other possibility that is, stumping. Life. Oh, I hear people complaining all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel for them, but I don't take their suffering. I don't, if I can do something, I give them this, I talk to them. It's funny, I talk to everybody that comes in to the gallery because it's my responsibility. A lot of them thank me in the end. I said, don't thank me. Just do something with it. Someone came and said, can you become my teacher? I said, no, because that's another trick of the mind. You become the teacher, now they don't have to, someone else is responsible. They're going to give you the answers. No. It's your responsibility. You don't need a teacher, you don't need a book, you don't need a movie, you don't need to go to India to find a guru, because it's a trick of the mind. It's not taking responsibility. And people say, why don't you write a book? No, because people read the book and then read it again and say, if I read it 5 times, I'll know, and then 10 times. And they become addicted to the book. No. You do it yourself. You don't need an outside force to do it for you, or to outsource your responsibility to a lawyer or guru or made in China type thing, outsourcing. Do it yourself. It's much more fun this way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope it makes sense. I mean, I hope it makes sense because, I talk a lot, because I get excited about it.
Yeah,
and if
you're passionate.
I can actually give an advice here, if it's possible. If you talk to yourself this way, in the beginning out loud, it becomes a pattern in your brain. You are redirecting your thought into something that's much more beneficial to you. So you explain, you try to explain to others in your own words. And the more you do it, the more you understand it, the more excited you get. So, I get it. And it gives you, it's another tool. Tell them, share with other people. Talk to them about it. And see if, let's say, some of the things I said, if you check it out for yourself, you can find out. So medication is okay to some cases, I assume. Drugs okay to some people at some point in time, but they cannot be your runaway. You want to expand, only if you're in full control, though. Obviously, yeah. Do you have full control over your brain all the time? No, but you're eliminating the non-control to the minimum possible. There's other secrets, things that you discover that you didn't know. So, wow, by going and taking the same route, okay, this leads to there. I don't need to go all the way there. I have to make a dance. Take this. Okay, now let's take this road. Let's take this road. You don't know where you're going, but you're going to take the shortest way there. See? I remember in the beginning I said, take the shortest way possible to an unknown place. You don't know where you're going, but you trust yourself enough to know the next step is the shortest way there.
Yeah.
That's a trick. That's a trick here.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know what? It works for me.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to ask me too many questions, I see, huh?
I mean, no, because I ran out of questions because I see your theory and your method of the way that you go about life, and there's no
one thing brings the other. See, there's no. See, people have to be careful to playing roles. So we play a role of a family member, husband and wife, a son, or whatever the case. We play a role. So we go here, we play a role. We go there, we play a different role. We go to work, we play another role. So no. You have to be the same everywhere you go. You're not playing roles. You are yourself wherever you go. There's no. It seems like you want to either impress or pretend. Just be yourself all the time. So you don't have to change customs all the time. I'm here. I'm going to deal with my kids a certain way. I get my work in a certain way. Be yourself, as the saying goes. But it's kind of tricky when you say that to people. What do you mean, be yourself?
Yeah,
I am myself. Well, have control.
Yeah,
have control, and then if you're in control, sky opens up, and creativity just fall in your lap because you just allow it in. You're not preventing. The doors and the windows are open. As I like to say, bring it on. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Surprise me. Challenge me. Give me a good discussion that we can challenge the way I see things. Maybe I'm wrong. Just back and forth. Tell me something that I missed. I'm going to think about it and say, okay, maybe I'm wrong. I like this type of conversation because it challenges me.
Yeah.
And I definitely recommend.
Yeah.
For everybody to do that.
Yeah.
So there's no time for down in life. There's no time. No time. See, people explain it later on why it's good to suffer because, I learned through the suffering. And it's possibility, but there's other ways. I learned something, so you keep on saying, I'm going to show myself and I'm going to bang my head on the wall and until I break the wall and I'm going to show myself that I can. So go around it. Why do you want to bleed on the wall? The wall is there. Go around the wall, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, showing yourself that you're strong by knocking your head on the wall doesn't make any sense. The wall is going to win, both cases, right? You're going to break your neck or your head, and then you're going to, the door is open, I can go around it. So It's too late then.
Yeah.
So I said, don't. So it's like as they say, water. It's like, okay, what's the easiest way into this new space? It's not going knocking on the wall. We celebrate. People, they have their own this set of goals, and they made it through the. Okay, it's kind of stupid to me because, I mean, is there other better way, easier way, and much more fun way to learn? I think there is. And I mean, why do you want to prove yourself? You're so strong. You're strong. This is your nature. What are you lying to yourself?
Yeah.
People tend to sometimes fall in love with their own suffering. They're not fall in love, but they got used to it so much. It's part of their identity. They suffer. They accept it. I mean, I know as a hypnotherapist, people, they accept it. And they kind of, it's like something you push under the carpet, and you go around it, and then up to a point where it's too high, then you fall because, there's a lot of accumulation there. And boom, you fall, right? It's the same thing. We push things that are uncomfortable to the side in the idea that they're not going to come back. Well, they will. They're carrying with you wherever you go. It's there. And eventually you're going to trip on it.
Yeah.
So clear your plate. Clear your plate. Now, people say, so how do you do that? How do you clear your plate? How do you get rid of certain habits? First of all, you have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of your habits. And again, as I said, besides brushing your teeth, habits are potentially, like ideologies, are potentially risky. It might not, but potentially, if there's potential there, don't go there. Because it's going to take you at one point in time. Ideologies, they believe right, left, and they hold on to that so tight, it becomes part of who they think they are. And if tomorrow life is not going to play this game, you feel stupid, right?
Yeah.
But you might not admit, and you start changing. You want to change life now. No, you can't. Life is going to come to you in all directions all the time. There's nothing you can do to change life. What you can do is work whatever it gives you, and it gives you so much for free. Low-hanging fruit, as I said. Just pick it up and use it. Okay, a little bit of this. So I met this person. I heard this interesting sentence here. I saw this, this experience. I saw this animal there. You put them together, you have a reality, right? And it's always surprising. It's always, because this comes from so many directions, it's always going to come up with something new. If you want to make it the same, you have a problem.
Yeah. True.
So
that's interesting.
So there you go.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. What's going to be tomorrow? I don't know. But I'm going to be excited going to sleep tonight, thinking of what is waiting for me in the next side.
Yeah.
If I wake up, I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, that's true.
You know. So it really, it's appreciation of life.
Yeah.
It's the joy, and then the world will be a better place, I think, if people were more joyful and less resent and less. No, we use all these big words all the time, but you want to change the world? Change yourself first. Work on yourself. If you know your language and you control yourself, then you can affect the world in the smaller vicinity, in the area that you live, in the people that you know, and that's the effect.
Yeah, and it's domino effect from there.
Right. So you have an excess of energy, it just flows out of you, and it goes to this. People say, "I want the same drink this person is having," right? Kind of thing, right? And you don't do it because, again, you're better or not, because you feel this internal energy keeps growing and keeps multiplying. What do you do with it? You just give it away, spread it, instead of buying it from somewhere else, or getting addicted to something that is limited, has a very short-lived amount of energy that you have to replenish again.
Right.
Drugs happens a lot. Don't get me wrong. I do smoke sometimes. But it cannot be a condition to do anything.
Right.
Like artists say, well, I can only paint or draw in the middle of